Hi guys, welcome back to Faith and Conviction, and I'm your host Ray Harris. And we've been looking at Friedrich Nietzsche and his parable called the Madman. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to look at the rest of his ideas in this and look at these motifs in this segment. After he, being the madman, had described what kind of atonements are we going to do and what kind of festivals are we going to have to invent, it says that the madman fell silent and he laments that he feels that he had come too early. Now I think what's interesting here is it says that the crowd also fell silent and stared at him in astonishment. I think it's fascinating that Nietzsche is putting forth this idea that humanity has somehow killed God. And when humanity is confronted with the idea of having killed God, humanity goes, hold on here a minute, what are we going to do? And Nietzsche feels that this madman has come a little too early to make this announcement. But what I really want to focus on is down here at the end of this parable. It said that the madman went into divers, an old word for various. He went into various churches and there sang this Latin phrase, Requiem aeternam Deo, translated as eternal rest for God. And he closes out by saying this, what are these churches now if they are not the tombs and sepulchers of God? Brothers and sisters, you may, and friends, you may remember, or I encourage you to, if you haven't seen it, to go to the parable about the pool. There are times that we're going to feel like we've gone into a church, just like this madman that Nietzsche writes about. Goes into a church, and the church feels dead because the church has done what Paul advises us not to do, and they have quenched the Spirit. And if we quench the Spirit and we allow each other to quench the Spirit, then what we have done is in some small way we have prohibited God from living in the church. And I take this and I say this very seriously, because I think why some people feel so off-put by some churches is not that God is dead. Humanity cannot kill that which created it. But we can walk into a facility that is labeled a church, expect to gather and find beauty being magnified, praise being given, and what we seem to find is anything but. So let us not think that God is dead, but let us think the way it's talked about in Revelation, and that perhaps what has happened is that Jesus has allowed the light to be taken from that place. It is very hard to think these ways because we want churches to be a representation of good, and we want them to be filled with life. But as we talked in the pool parable, sometimes that water is missing. As you can see behind me, we have lots of water. Now God is the creator of that water. And we may know what molecules make up that water, but only God can create it. And what a marvelous, marvelous creator he is. Don't think for a minute that he can't hear you, that he doesn't want to answer your prayers, that doesn't want to help you have greater faith and greater conviction.